The night rain drummed against the windows of Harper's Family Diner in Austin, Texas, when Mason Carter walked in with a single rose in his trembling hand. His shirt collar was worn, shoes scuffed, and the faint smell of motor oil clung to him from the garage where he worked long hours. He had almost turned back twice, telling himself it was foolish to believe someone like him belonged anywhere near a blind date arranged by his overly hopeful friend. And yet, here he was, his heartbeat echoing louder than the thunder outside, hoping for a miracle he didn't believe he deserved. It wasn't until he saw her that the breath left his lungs. A woman in a navy blue dress, sitting alone in a corner booth, her hands covering her face as she silently cried. She looked powerful even in her brokenness, like a storm wrapped in silk. He recognized her immediately. Amelia Rhodes, CEO of Rhodes Enterprise, the woman who had the city whispering her name with reverence. Beautiful, intimidating, unreachable. Mason blinked hard, wondering what kind of cosmic joke had brought her here tonight. If you believe in kindness, second chances, and stories that remind us of hope, please like, comment, share, and subscribe to this channel. It truly helps more than you know. Mason stood frozen for a moment too long, thinking about his 7-year-old daughter Grace, waiting at home with the neighbor. He thought about the overdue rent notice tucked into his pocket, and the way his life felt like a house made of thin glass, always one bad day away from shattering. He approached the table quietly, clearing his throat in the gentlest way he could. Amelia lifted her face, her mascara-smudged eyes widening the instant she saw him. Not with recognition of who he was, but of what this moment meant. They were each other's blind date. The silence between them was sharp. She whispered an apology, voice trembling like someone trying to hold the world together with her bare hands. She told him she didn't expect this. She didn't expect anyone tonight. She confessed her heart wasn't ready. Not after the betrayal she had survived mere weeks ago when the man she planned to marry left her for someone else. Her engagement had collapsed like a dying star, and she felt like she had gone down with it. Mason could see the fear in her eyes, fear of being seen as weak, fear of being judged, fear of being unlovable. He didn't know what to say. He didn't know how to fix anything. But he did know what it felt like to be abandoned, to be left picking up pieces someone else shattered. His wife had left 5 years ago, stepping into a different life without looking back, leaving Mason raising Grace alone, learning how to braid hair from YouTube videos and how to hide the loneliness that followed him like a shadow. They sat together, talking in low voices as the diner hummed around them. Amelia learned that Mason had never been on a date since his wife left. And Mason learned that Amelia had forgotten how to breathe without her work consuming her. Everything about her screamed success. The tailored coat, the diamond earrings, the posture of a woman used to commanding rooms, but her eyes told the truth of someone who had forgotten how to rest. The waitress brought coffee, lightning flashed, conversation turned to childhoods, regrets, and dreams they were afraid to say out loud. And then Amelia said the words that would break him a little, even though he understood them more than she knew. She looked into her cup and whispered that she didn't think someone like him should waste time on someone like her. She could offer money, power, status, but not love. Maybe not ever again. She said she was too broken for ordinary souls. Mason felt something in his chest sink, not because she had insulted him, but because she had insulted herself. Because she truly believed she was unworthy of something as simple and miraculous as being chosen for her heart rather than her title. He told her the truth in his own quiet way, that broken didn't mean useless, that wounds didn't mean unlovable, that sometimes the best people were the ones who still showed up even when life had tried to convince them not to. The night drifted on, and the storm outside finally softened. When it was time to leave, Amelia reached for her coat, but paused when she saw Mason stare at the window as if fighting an internal battle. He told her he couldn't afford the cab home, not after paying for the sitter, and that buses didn't run this late to his neighborhood. He apologized, embarrassed. Without hesitating, she offered him a ride. The car she drove was a sleek black sedan that purred like wealth itself. Mason sank into the leather seat, feeling like an imposter, clutching the rose he never gave her. In the driveway of his small duplex, Amelia saw something that made her chest tighten. A little girl asleep on the porch swing, wrapped in a blanket, waiting for her father. Grace stirred, rubbing her eyes, and Mason rushed to her, hugging her gently, apologizing for being late. Amelia watched, her heart aching in ways she didn't expect. Grace blinked up at Amelia, shy but curious, and suddenly the woman who built empires felt small beneath the gaze of a child who saw without judgment. Amelia stepped out, knelt to Grace's level, and introduced herself in the softest voice Mason had heard all night. Grace smiled, a tiny gap between her teeth, and told Amelia she liked her dress. Something fragile and healing passed between them in that simple exchange. Amelia stood again, and Mason thanked her for the ride. Before he stepped away, Amelia said she hoped he wouldn't judge her for the things she said earlier. Mason shook his head, telling her that the only people worth knowing were the ones honest enough to admit they were hurting. And Amelia, for the first time in weeks, felt seen. The next morning, Mason went to work at the garage. His co-workers teased him when Amelia's car pulled up. Outside, like something out of a dream, she stepped out with a firm expression, holding a folder. He feared the worst. Maybe she felt guilty and wanted to offer him money, or maybe she regretted everything. Instead, she offered him something he never expected. A job. Not at her company, not in some fairy tale leap. She offered a partnership with her philanthropy initiative, a program to support single parents who needed training and resources to build stable careers. She wanted him to help shape it, to bring his lived experience, his voice, his heart. She said someone like him was exactly what people like her needed, a reminder that impact didn't start in boardrooms, but in lives. Mason accepted, not because he suddenly believed he deserved miracles, but because he wanted to try. He wanted to build something that made all the years of struggle mean something. And Amelia, in return, found herself rediscovering pieces of her heart, one step at a time. It wasn't a love story. Not yet. It was something gentler, something braver. Two people learning that healing isn't always loud or sudden. Sometimes it begins in diners and driveways and front porches where children smile into the night. Before we move to the final moments, comment below. Do you believe broken people can still build beautiful futures? Months later, the program launched. Mason became its heartbeat. Amelia learned to trust herself again. And Grace, with her wide eyes and fearless hope, became the thread that tied it all together. They didn't need labels. They didn't need promises. They needed moments like this, ordinary, extraordinary, human.